Hello, this is tmnt and welcome back to another review on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles tmnt the Armageddon game, the Alliance issue number 6. So yeah, unfortunately this is the last issue for this series, and I must admit it's somewhat good but somewhat bad, and I would like to give my opinions on this series overall at the end, because I do think that this series was pretty interesting to say the very least. Okay, so starting off the story, we do get to see where we left off in the last issue, and we do get to see Karai basically setting up a big plan to take down the Null Turtles and then go after Stockman and Madam Null. Now overall with this scene, I don't really have too much to say about it. I do think that Karai setting up a big plan to take them all down was pretty interesting, and it's really great to see like her character be actually useful and actually interesting and good for once, and not just pushed to a sideline for a change. So I do really enjoy that quite a bit. But on the other hand, I do think there's a little bit of disappointment here, just because in the last issue we do get to see April going through Madam Null's building trying to get some information about Madam Null, and we don't really ever get to see that information or whatever it was. And then in this issue they don't really go into it all too much, and it's all just basically say stuff which we already knew, which basically basically Madam Null Turtles are working for Madam Null and Stockman and Null working together. And if that was all the information April got, then I do find it a tad bit stupid, just because everyone in that universe already knows about all that stuff. Not to mention, we already know about that stuff as well as the readers. So I do find that whatever information that was given out in this issue was somewhat a bit, I don't want to say stupid again, but like, I feel so that they could have given us more new information, or at least something new, instead of just basically saying stuff which we already knew. So then going into the next scene, which I probably have to say is probably one of the best scenes we do get throughout this issue, was the fact that I do get to see the Null Turtles come down and fight the new Alliance group. And I must admit, I do really enjoy the Alliance group, and I think that they have a really fun dynamic. Now during this scene we do get to see Bill Rocksteady take on the Null Turtles, we do get to see Casey, we do get to see the EPF member, we get to see Koya, we get to see Angel, Alapex all coming together, fighting the Turtles, and I just found that their group dynamic was really fun and worked really well, and it's something which I would really like to see a lot more of. And it's something a bit like, I will say this, I'm somewhat disappointed that they only got to fight the Turtles for only a few pages, and it's not to say that that's a really bad thing, but I'm just saying that I would have liked to see a lot more of them. And then going into the next scene, we do get to see Karai goes up against the Turtles and has a rematch of sorts, and again this is where we do get to see another really fun side of the dynamic with the Alliance group, as we'll start placing bets on Karai and how long they will last with the fight. And I must admit, this is something which was really fun, and to seeing these characters interact this way was just really great. And again, it's something which I would like to see a lot more of, just because it feels though that this whole group and the fun dynamic which they are having in this issue could possibly translate into a really great team, and possibly even a great series or something like that. I do see a lot of potential with this series. I just hope that they do really go forward with this whole Alliance idea and actually do something with it, not just, oh well, they're a team and they show up whenever it's story needs, really. So, I'm really looking forward to see what they do with these characters with this new group, and I do think that what it did show in this issue was really great. But then after that, we do get to see Karai goes to Madam Null and Stockman with some information about saying that basically she's going to release the video footage that says that basically Madam Null and Stockman are working together, and the whole reason why things are happening. And that's when Flyballs come in, Foot Ninjas come in, Baxter tries to leave, and Madam Null just stays there and attacks them all. And there's not really too much I can really say here. And then we do go into the final few pages where we do get to see Karai comes out of limo and starts talking to Stockman, saying that basically that she's sort of blackmailing him, saying that she's not going to release this video of him basically saying that he doesn't really care for the mutants, he wants to destroy them all and stuff like that, and it's going to use that footage later just in case, and it's also made another alliance with Stockman. Now this is where I do have a problem with this issue. It's not really a bad problem, but I'd say that because of the way they set the alliance up in terms of this whole series, where basically they set one issue on certain characters, and there's never been any real main focus on a certain character. I know Karai has more of the main focus in this actual story and the series, but I do think that having her here doing this and ending it here with this scene here, it just felt very weird and anticlimactic, I would say. And I do think that if main focus on Karai also in this issue, it did feel a bit weird and out of place and out of nowhere, but I do think it worked for the most part. So overall with this series, I do think that this series overall was really great and really fun, and I do think that certain comics definitely did have a really great story throughout them. I know that issue number 1 and issue number 6 were really great, and issue number 4 I'll say was really great for like the story in terms of the actual ongoing series. But I would say that issue 2, 3, and 5, I'd say, yeah, those ones they're not bad, I'd say. They had like really great fun stories that really did delve into the characters and make them who they are. And I would say that's like one of the best parts about the series was the fact that they was able to give stories to unknown characters, or not necessarily unknown characters, but characters who don't normally get many stories. And I would say that's a really great thing. But I would say that issue like 2, 3 and 5, they still didn't really feel like you had to read them, and it felt as though that they were just there just to set the characters up for something. But then sometimes some of the stories were like pointless really. Just like with issue number 3, it contradicts a lot of stuff with Alapex's character, and issue 5 just felt so pointless. But at the same time, I do like the fact that they are giving like these stories to these characters. Then like another problem which it all did have is the fact that I didn't have like a main character to really focus on. I know that Karai was all like the main focus from issue number 1 and issue number 6, and then she had a little backup story part to play in each issue, which I think worked for the most part, but I do think that they are missing that like key character to focus on. And I do think that when you get to issue number 6, where there's like a big main focus on Karai and setting her up with her stories and stuff like that, it just feels like really weird. I think I'm making that like make sense a bit, where yeah, I think it makes sense just because I wish there was a bit more of a focus on a main character instead of just having Karai be a main character for some issues, but not really having them be the main focus for most of the issues. I think that makes sense. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below what you think about this whole series and what you think about this issue, because overall I think that I did really enjoy it, but I think there was definitely elements that they could have definitely improved upon. And for the most part, from what I can tell from this series, that people did somewhat enjoy it, and I do think that some issues people did enjoy a lot more than others. I've got a feeling a lot of people did enjoy issue number 3 just because, you know, it's Alapex and Angel, and who cannot love them really. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today guys. If you just want, please share, like, subscribe and all that stuff. Goodbye, yo, bye.